The partner draw is not a conversation, Jermaine and Roger, about monetary gains, It's about a new Jamaica where if Floyd Green is wrong, he's charged. Just as how Siloni, who has a mental illness, was charged $120,000. Just as how Mama San from Marvelly was charged $45,000 each. Pepper sprayed, and you see I sent you the videos. Pepper sprayed. And done what? Abused. Come on, battered. Jermaine, how do you feel as a man with a disability? Do you feel as though you have the equal rights like Andrew Honest's children? No. We have never had a conversation about true equality, Roger. Equality that sees that not because you're a professor and I am a madman on the road. Look at the young lady yesterday right there on South Camp Road, Roger. In naked. And people just videoing her. Where is the compassion from Jamaica and Jamaicans to have covered her, to hold her down and carry her to a hospital? Bellevue is just across the road. These are the things that makes me cry, Roger. These are the things that's why I cannot sleep at night.
Instead of responding as a brother to a sister.
Everybody videoing it.
And found it funny.
When I look at another video of how them stabbing up a man in halfway tree on Monday, and everybody is around, nobody is calling for peace, Jermaine. Nobody's come, let us reason it out. Where is the restorative justice that we have on record? Horace Chang, how do you feel this morning? He's saying eyes on real estate crooks. Who made these people crooks?
But I think the Prime Minister has thrown it out, and I keep going back to it. He said we've got to come to this point when we value the lives of each other. That is not a small
talking.
It's profound, People have glossed over it. And typically the media wasn't going to
divulge and going to. But we this morning go and talk about it. A new Jamaica. A new Jamaica about values and attitudes. Remember when Sir Queen's Counsel PJ Patterson, the most honorable Percival James Patterson, started the values and attitudes program. And Bruce Golding carried it on. And Peter Bunting at the time did say unite for change. Who is saying what now? Believe? It can't be believed. We need a new Jamaica. We need a Jamaica. If Bobby Montague is accused of corruption, he's not removed from a ministry and sent into another ministry to do the same thing and probably worse. Because here's what. He has no control. That's the kind of Jamaica, Jermaine, that I am fed up about. When I look at my friend Roger, who is an academia, Roger is one of the more brilliant people on the campus.
Absolutely.
Roger deserves to be at a level where he's consulting not on just Jamaica, but on crime, on economic prowess and deprivation. When he can say to Jamaica, Roger reads people well. He can read a lot. Why can't we find more Roger Bens in society? Why can't we find more Germans in society who can reason out things? Why can't you find more Andres in society? So that's the kind of thing this morning. So what's in the news, Roger?
Well, it's the same kind of turn of the mill stuff happening. It says eyes on real estate crooks. This is something we touched base on
Monday,
and
it's coming out now. I tell you, the new stock is really taking up things,
So apparently, 3 of Jamaica's top investigative bodies have turned their searchlights on the real estate market, where ill-gotten money is being channeled to fund construction projects.
Wow.
Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang told his parliamentary colleagues on Tuesday that he was expecting to see results this year from probes being carried out by the Financial Investigation Division, that's FID, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency, MOCA,
yes,
the counter-terrorism and organized crime and investigation branch, CETA.
What a bangarang said it means, say, there is some truth that there are really illegal activities happening in the developers' world. But I'm going to say this to you. Who create them? Who enable them? Who put them at the level that them can be uncontrolled now?
Hold on.
It's the same system, Roger.
Security forces are aware and are taking a closer look at these things And I expect to see some results come out of it during the course of this year.
Means the man I go get locked up.
FID, Mocha and CTOC, we should be able to begin to identify and bring to book some of these operatives.
Mighty God, eternal Father Jermaine, bless our land. Guide us with your mighty what? Keep us free from evil powers.
Whoa.
Imperialism and mash up Jamaica, Jermaine.
Ill-gotten money.
But a lot of the evil powers are right here on the island.
Yes! A lot of them are here on the island, Jermaine. But I'm going to say to you, say, Father, I go uproot them. You hear the Bible say him expose everything when ugly. Roger, 250 Jamaicans yesterday get displaced by flood in St. Mary and Portland too. And I'm going to say to you, climate change is real. I never hear about them at every water in my 30 years in a January. So what I'm saying to you that climate change is happening. Climate change is real. And we need to do something for a new Jamaica too. Because if look rain fall at Portland and St. Mary and 250 people out at this place, judge if Hurricane Andre come. Judge if Hurricane Raja come. Judge if Hurricane Jermaine come. Or judge if the tsunami and Raja Jermaine. Because you know tsunami can come in three. What a bangarang on the land.
I'm wondering two things. I'm wondering how much of the road work that we've done for the highways
a mash up. But then the truth is junction. It is alleged. It is alleged that Junction Main Road is on a pause because the people on mostly Junction Main Road are said to be of a orange side. It is alleged, Roger, that the Prime Minister put a pause on that main road because of political lineage. If I saw Prime Minister, I need to stop. Because road now have nothing to do with who and how, because road is infrastructure. Road is investment. Everybody drive on the road. The dumb, the different, all the evil crime people them, the criminals them. And the roads them so bad. So that's why when if you catch them bit easier.
Everybody who benefits from road, but it is something that the government has taken from taxpayers.
It's all our taxpayers' dollars.
It's all our taxpayers' dollars. And we can't say everyone don't pay tax because we have even taxed food.
Lord Jesus.
So if you eat in this country, you're a taxpayer.
Roger, you know how much for a pound of flour now?
No, you know, but
$85 per pound. Coming from
and they
30.
The 10%, the 7% tax on it,
Yeah.
the increase?
Yeah. So it moved from $70 per pound to $85.
70 to 85.
So bread
And
gone up now.
bread gone up to 420 now, probably 450 per bread.
And
When
you said
bread-
it's been sold for even $500
Yes.
in the supermarket.
500. Yeah,
For one bread.
for one bread. Now, chicken 3 years ago was $170 per pound. Chicken has doubled to $340 and $350, $360 per pound. A tin, the little tin of tin mackerel that was for $75 is now $120 on average.
But, you know,
So I'm going to say to you, Roger, does the Prime Minister know the reality that food shortage and food security is a major thing very soon? And if it is a major, come on, let him sit there. Morning, my friend.
I would want to say to Jamaican, based on what I'm seeing unfolding,
Just
you
rest
see,
it.
you see that little house, you see that little plot of land you have in the country, you're applying to
Plant it. Me not sell it.
Not sell it.
Roger, I'm going to say to you, we were having a discussion about, Jermaine, we were having a discussion on Monday, remember, Ricardo? And we were talking about Jamaica being, we need to have zones of commercial land. It's only Jamaicans own it. You know, in Dubai, there are certain places that not foreign nationals cannot buy.
They're prohibited, yeah.
They're prohibited. Roger, so why foreign national want cockpit country? You know mad? You know really mad?
They wanted Goat Island.
They wanted Goat Island. They want prime real estate. Mona.
Wait, are you having a problem with the fact that they want it?
Yes, it's wrong.
Why shouldn't they want it?
Why should they want it? Because it should be developed by Jamaicans for Jamaicans.
That's the issue that we have to deal with.
The issue that needs to deal with comes from a policy level. A policy level, Ricardo. Ricardo, it comes from a policy level where 100... No, you can't change it. We have to just use it together.
No problem.
You and I need to understand that if the Prime Minister decides, it must be a policy direction, Jermaine, where the Prime Minister decides that there are some areas in the country that is only for Jamaican nationals, Roger. That sounds reasonable to me. That sounds reasonable to me. Tell me if it don't sound reasonable, Roger.
But
Roger.
Even those nations in the global north are exhibiting that kind of protectionism.
Protectionism.
They reserve places of their countries for locals only, quite frankly.
But why is it that we're not having that situation, Jamaica? We're not having that situation because the Jamaica that we need is selfish, and we always have sell out ourselves. It is also alleged that the Prime Minister has sat and signed off with Bangal developers on the lands for mining. Why do we need to mine everything, Roger? Why can't we turn it in some real estate? Do we know that Jamaica has one of the best waters in the world? Why then are you going to mash up your watersheds for development? What we need is proper housing solutions in Kingston, St. Catherine and St. Andrew, where zinc fence are removed and we put up proper housing structures, proper project structures, so that zinc fence are removed, so them can fight crime. Looking in East Kingston yesterday or Monday, look at the high-level guns that they found. Where is the guns and drugs campaign? The weapons of warfare is carnal. It is a carnal affair, Roger. And we must know that Jamaica is also another spiritual attack. And this spiritual attack has left a lot of bloodshed on the land. And me no want nobody come tell me, so when me attack, say, me sound like a spiritual conspiracist. How you feel have a Jamaican or a Jamaica with over 125 murders in 1 month, and Haiti with the more guns than Jamaica, with 11.5 million Jamaicans, Haitians, and yet still their murder rate per 100,000, Roger, is 6%.
Syria facing a civil war.
Syria facing a civil war, Afghanistan, Iraq, and Jamaica. Ricardo, that's the kind. Yes, we have to compare it.
No, we have to. As much as that topic is interesting, we also move on to other issues happening in the headlines. Price hikes pounding pockets of poor.
Of course. And that's why I'm going to ask you this one question. Let me just ask this one question. Where is the welfare system through the Ministry of Labour and Social Security to give those families, those past families, those people who are elders in the community that goes on NH, them welfare program per month? Why are they not picking up packages from food for the poor?
You know,
that's a question we need to ask.
At some point.
Why?
Let's talk about it. But let's
you understand? It is really hurting me, man.
Hikes in the price of basic food. So I'm reading this because it's something we've talked about a little bit.
We'll talk about it on Monday.
So price for food, fuel. I am now walking more because I will not drive more. And electricity costs are having a devastating impact on the poor and low-income earners. University of West Indies lecturer and economist Peter John Gordon has said. The escalations come as the Minimum Wage Commission has submitted its latest review to the Ministry of Labour. Permanent Secretary Colette Roberts-Resdin told the Gleaner on Monday that Labour Minister Carl Samuda will be presenting the review to Cabinet for consideration. Bakery flour cost has increased by 6% on Monday, while the price of chicken was set to move up by 10% late January. The National Water Commission has signaled that there would be a roughly 4% point increase in the price adjustment mechanism rate to be applied to customers this month. The inflation outturn for the calendar year 2021, according to the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, was 9.1%.
Tell me now, Anna Bangar.
Hold on. Head of the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, Helene Davis-White, said that most workers have complained that they were fighting it. Sorry, I repeat. The workers complained that they were finding it very difficult to meet their daily expenses.
Sad.
Particularly in relation to food, transportation, and utilities.
Me go say this to you. Me have no friends in a ministry of labor, education, security force. Roger, them have to cook Sunday, Monday, for last them up to Thursday. Some of them have to eat tin mackerel, and little white rice every day. Them can't even afford the chicken back these days. Them can't even afford the chicken. When them gonna go market,
resorting to fish back now.
not even the fish back them can eat, Jermaine. It's not okay. The conversation, Ricardo, cannot be okay. Too many Jamaicans are suffering under this system. This system of oppression and the system of fear.
Can I?
Talk, Ricardo, but I go and fix your business if you talk on the full this morning. If you talk on the full Jamaica, my fans are going to fix your business.
It's hard to make sense to a person who doesn't find sense in common sense.
Who you talk to?
I'm joking.
Who you talk to? You know, me are the master common sense. You're out of that. Jamaica fixing business.
That's a distraction. Nobody gets
Me not getting into them this morning.
So when it comes down to inflation, right? The inflation that we're facing is quite a tricky thing because the inflation is global inflation and not just local inflation.
Seriously.
And,
Come on.
yes, but we cannot.
When you situate it in that kind of reality, it's an unfair comparison.
What do you mean?
Right? Because there are social safety nets that exist.
That exists in other foreign territories.
That don't exist in Jamaica.
Because partner work.
Wait. No, we are not. No, I think you're.
Ricardo, Jamaica, go fix your business this morning, you know. Be careful what you're saying, you know. Don't become an enemy of the state. Don't become an enemy of the state. Be very careful, because them start by you already.
Hold on. Yes, Ricardo.
I think you're conflating two things. Are we talking about social safety net or inflation?
Social safety net that is affected by inflation. Them have correlations.
No, because I was providing an explanation as to why we're experiencing this.
You have 2
excessive
minutes.
Inflation.
Even when the world wasn't having inflation, Jamaica was having inflation.
No, but every country knows.
Andre, I don't think the question is whether or not Jamaica is having inflation. The world is experiencing inflation. The question is, are we an economy that is resilient enough to deal with this era of inflation? Are we able to attend to those at the margins of the society, those at the bottom, those who are falling through the poverty net? That's the problem. That's the question. Other nations are able to do it, as Rogers said.
No,
But we have not mastered it.
Especially in
But
South Africa.
we're not talking about South
America.
Africa. We're talking about foreign powers that we rely on with serious remittances. England, USA, Canada.
When people are working, people who are working are unable to even sustain themselves. They're unable to find. Hold on. This is, Jermaine, what is alarming? Food,
Light,
utilities,
water,
You know,
gas,
hold
The
on.
only thing that's not going up is people's wages.
wages.
Hold on.
And why is the minimum wage where it is?
The point is, they have not yet mentioned, daily living, children, costs, health costs. They have not mentioned those.
Luxury.
So just the ability for a family to eat is a struggle. For a family to travel is a struggle.
Can't go there to
For a family
luxury.
to stay healthy is another thing, because listen,
I don't buy this narrative.
You never buy nothing yet. That's why Jamaica people are going to fix your business.
The fact that you can't afford food.
See my beat me up the Jamaica.
The fact that you can't afford food no points to something else. Families now begin to find poorer and poorer alternatives.
And the alternatives is also a life of crime, malnutrition, undernutrition.
Wait,
One meal.
Square this with the idea that currently now, based on the starting report that was out
Every day I come with statistics, like statistics rule people life.
Okay.
Every day I'm coming with statistics.
Hold
Let
on.
me hear what he's
Yeah.
saying on.
So there were some good metrics that came out. One, we know that the unemployment level right now is lower than it
Also with
was.
us is Andre Partner Boss Stevens.
Good morning again, Jamaica. This song is so powerful
I agree.
because Jamaica and the earth, imperialism are run the nations red. The Silk Road that some nations want to build is running red. The exploitation, slavery is here, Slavery is back, Roger and Jermaine, Ricardo. Because when you have a man,
And you always take the conversation so extreme.
3 months.
Yes,
time.
but we're talking about the redness of the earth. And
But
earth,
it's modern day.
it's modern day slavery, Ricardo.
It's not chattel slavery.
It's not chattel, but it is a slavery of the mind.
What I find so amazing is this song having released years ago.
And still have relevance today.
No, you know, this is what I consider to be good music.
True.
Right? This is what I consider to be good music. I'm not bashing all of those persons who are celebrating their body parts.
Some of them should be bashed.
But,
Yesterday the video with the two little girls.
but,
Yesterday the video with the two little girls.
this is art. Because it stands the test of time. This commentary was relevant then, and God knows it's relevant now. And so we segue into a topic that we continue to talk about because we aren't getting anywhere.
But it's a good continue
The
talk.
experts have given their view. The journalists have given their view.
And many of them have been some silent and mum and dumb.
And Fresh Start with its panel of youth
Some of them mum and dumb, you know.
and professionals are also giving their views.
But
So the letter of the day in the Gleaner spoke to Jamaica caught in systemic cycle of corruption. Let me read.
Lord Jesus.
The Gleaner ran a news story last week regarding the latest annual
open the door
survey
for me.
results.
Wait, Jermaine.
From
Jermaine,
Transparency
wait.
International. And then an interview with Professor Trevor Monroe, Principal Director of the National Integrity Action, who offered several specific steps that should be taken. The survey says that on a scale of between 0, the most, and 100, the least, corruption in Jamaica ranks below the median in the lower percentage of 40. The bigger issue of concern to the average Jamaican is that government's level of corruption and lack of transparency appears stuck year after year. First off, how is the Transparency International, the TI survey, conducted? They are not for profit organization that only measures corruption in the public sector and does nothing in the private sector. For example, banks and money laundering are included. So the TI interviewed at least 13 sources in each country, which include development banks, NGOs, local foundations, and media as well. Right? It goes on to say, because it would have given other countries who have factored in on that, right?
Yeah.
But it says the cycle of corruption. So why is Jamaica caught up year after year in a
Can I say
cycle
this
of
to you?
corruption? Let me finish reading. Listen to what the chair of Transparency International had to say. That would be Delia Ferraro Rubio, a widely respected international corruption lawyer. She has testified before the US Congress and spoken at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. She says, it's how countries in the lower tier most often respond. We don't believe the numbers. This is not true. We are transparent, blah, blah, blah. The second problem, according to her, is that the countries are often run by populist regimes with no clearly articulated anti-corruption agenda and a weak system of checks and balances. Governments in power.
Prosperity government that. Prosperity government that. That definition is Andrew Holness, the Alibaba, and the 40 plus thieves.
That definition is every politician
in Jamaica, Mark Golding and the 14 Alibabians.
Because we have always relied on charisma.
Populism is true.
And we ourselves will say, many of us will say, oh, no.
Him too flat and boring and really.
Too boring.
Like Mark Golding.
I'm not going to call him.
Me just say I trust the truth, Ricardo.
I'm just saying though, that we have the voters, the voting culture in this country have created some of these issues because we love a populist
leader. If the leader in a clerks
right?
and not get a name like Bro God, Sister P, Black
So,
Prince,
the point then,
them not have no purpose.
A populist leader, you know, doesn't necessarily have to get anything done.
Him just have to be popular.
He just need to keep popular.
It's
keep
popularity
the
and the sentiments of the people. I'm going to ask you this question. From the time of Manley till now, Ricardo, what has Jamaica really achieved in terms of economic prowess and economic stability? From Manley to Siaga to Black Prince, right? To Portia, to Bruce Golding, to Bro God.
Well, you know,
What have we really achieved?
many people will tell you that, listen, we have been able to achieve some of the things that first world countries, we've been able to live the life that some first world country people can't live. You see the quality of vehicles that are in our country? The quality of roads? Well,
Not the roads.
The quality of some neighborhoods in this country. I mean, granted, you know,
The quality
kind of reality also exists in Haiti, right?
The quality of banks that we have
the region.
and financial institutions.
So
The educational opportunities that are here.
Significant opportunities that have come to be of existence.
But those are the superstructure
But is it trickling down?
to the ordinary man.
Oh.
Where, Ricardo?
Can I ask you a question, Andre?
Yes.
I want to desperately ask you this question. Do you think today you are better off than your great grandparents?
Minimum. That's the question. Then
you know why I don't think so?
My great grandparents
My
did
great
have
grandparents didn't have the loans
to pay.
that.
But do
that
you think you
generation
live a
from now
quality
will be
life
paying.
that is
The
preferable to what they were living back
No,
then?
them that we be a lot better life because them that live still at 100 and odd.
Hold on,
So it means that the environment had not so much filth.
I don't mean to go back because we want to deal with corruption.
Corruption. Me no
I
know.
watch a video on TikTok recently. It was this African female. I think she
And
was
she dancing.
Yeah. No,
Hey,
hold on.
mama.
No, not that one. She was from Gambia, Ghana,
one of those countries.
Anyway, she had moved to Sweden, and she was having this debate online about Sweden being a first world country and an independent country and everything else. And she said when she got there, she realized that all they did was live on credit. The phone they bought,
Credit.
you credit it. She said when you had a phone in Africa, in her,
You have to buy it.
it's bought cash. She said the house you live in, credit. She said when she's at home, you build your house from scratch.
On credit.
No, and you whatever money you have.
You put in, but
She said when you see somebody driving a car, it was bought cash. In the developing world, all credit. And she went on to say that any day there is a collapse, you lose everything. But in her country, when there's a collapse and you lose everything, all you ask yourself, Lord God, in the future, how am I going to cope? But at least I go back to a home. At least I look on a car. At least I look on my assets. And that's powerful, you know. Because
True.
she's saying, how can you be better off
in a
when
developed
everything
country
you owe,
is credit.
and in a country where everything that you own is bought? Right? Capitalism has really shifted our idea of what is independence and what is better off.
That is why I'm asking, are we better today?
Because people will tell you that it's important to have a credit history.
Credit
It's
history.
important for you to be able to trust. Because that's
But
how
your
the world
life,
works.
basically, Roger,
But on that,
this
anything happens to you,
you lose everything.
today you're big,
Tomorrow, I know. But I'm gonna say to you,
that argument at all.
no, you might not like it, but I'm gonna say to you,
I'm
let us get back to the script.
I'm responding
Want
to
to-
your future.
better
I'm
off.
responding to the question you asked about whether or not my grandmother, who owned her 2-apartment house, is better.
Are you saying
Is
that back then
better.
it was typical for a grandmother to own a
Of course,
What London? Of course.
more Jamaicans own them things back then. Your mother and your father. I live off of your parents, them past parents.
I would be worse off than my parents.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Of course. Not for we are living in our granny house. Not for we are living at the... Alright. Take for instance. Let us get back on the script of corruption. One woman named Siloni. Siloni is a no, I am hurt.
You must
No.
find somebody else now.
Alright, Mama San.
Jesus.
Mama San
Mm-hmm.
is from Marvel area.
Mm-hmm.
And she was keeping a party, a round robin, entertainment sector lockdown for 3 years now.
Mm-hmm.
People hungry. And them have to use the round robin to pay them partner draw. And pay, yes, partner draw may have become a big sensation. But the truth is,
Andre, I don't
Mama
think- I don't
San,
need to limit it just to
no, but Mama San,
to social media reality. That's
Social-
a bigger discussion.
yeah, but the
I
convert,
agree.
all right then. But she, this woman,
Mm-hmm.
all 8 family members had to pay $45,000 for the DMRA. But she shoots
Was
them.
it found that she had broken.
She has broken. But Floyd Green, Bellamy,
They have not broken.
they have not broken it. So I'm going to ask you this. My call this morning to Jamaica is all persons who have been charged under the DMRA Act, Roger, should be refunded.
So I'm going to continue with my conversation about this whole idea. So we talked
Refund
about
them, because if Floyd Green
public-
can't be charged, why are they charged?
So
Refund them.
We're talking about this idea of populist leaders.
Yes.
And we're saying that at the heart of this issue we're having with corruption is the leadership issue. A part of it is changing the culture of how we choose leaders. Right? Because we need to be focused more on accountability rather than personality in leadership. That's a powerful conversation to have. Our leaders now need to realize that it is not clerks anymore.
Kangal anymore.
I think one of the
need to come
problems
with more.
is sometimes
We need substance,
no,
Roger. We need substance, Ricardo.
Sometimes I agree. I think sometimes we
It's not-
misunderstand.
Bro God.
It's not Fresh Prince.
And bro God.
And fly the gate and make the pirate come in. It's
But
more than
people-
that.
More than that.
We can sit in studio all we want and preach. I think some people don't have a
You know,
problem
sir, I
with
want-
it.
I
And
want-
that's the issue. We claim sometimes to speak for these people and claim that these people have a problem with it. But at the end of the day, they're going back to vote for these
That's what I'm saying
politicians.
though. I'm
May I
saying
go
that's
and say-
part of our problem.
I'm going to ask you
So
this,
the problem
Roger.
there is not the politicians.
I am going to
but the
make an
people who vote for
invitation.
them.
I'm going to make an invitation for Joseph Patterson to come on. Because I want to hear what the UIC's position is on corruption.
Mm-hmm.
What's the UIC position on corruption?
Mm-hmm.
What's the UIC's position on holding public officials to account?
Mm-hmm.
We want to know, seeing that opposition and government just are use sensational politics, we need more than that.
But do you think it's the solution to some of the problem we have now is with a third party?
A third party probably be the best. We are a coalition government,
Or
Roger.
the point I'm making is we need to put pressure on our leaders to
To be
change
accountable.
the way they
And the leaders can't be accountable if as them do it, you just transfer them into a different ministry. Put the whole of them up at Jamaica House in a kitchen cabinet.
So, in other words, these leaders then don't have a clearly articulated anti-corruption agenda.
Not at all.
Right?
None at all.
It's just to come in to feed each other. And
Feed them friends and companies, them cronies and them concubines.
Jamaicans have agreed. They've given politicians a buy. What do I mean by that? When we vote for politicians, it's almost as if we say it's okay for you to steal.
Yes, man.
You know why? Because every Jamaican has this perception, wrongly, you know,
That corruption,
that politicians are thieves.
and because that's what just the system said.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a politician and you're not involved in some cookery, people wonder what is wrong with you.
Something is wrong with that, Roger.
And that is exactly.
Something
In other
is definitely wrong with
society
that.
Understand, you know, and supports this notion that politicians are not innocent or honest. We're okay with it.
Can I say to you, Roger? That is why so many Jamaicans.
Someone misrepresenting these people when we try to cater to the frustration of these individuals. When in many cases they're
Ricardo,
okay.
that's what programs like these exist for.
Mm-hmm.
To enlighten
To talk
people.
about what is not being talked about.
Yes, so sometimes when we go downtown and we see somebody has suffered,
Mm-hmm.
we should somewhat consider the sympathy we express to them because they're the one who's extending their suffering, right?
But can I say
hold
though?
on, but there's also something called ignorance,
Mm-hmm.
right? People are not always analyzing facts the way that we are because their immediate reality is food on the table. Their immediate reality is the MP that they have can give them school fee, can give them a lunch money, can give them a bus money, can give them some help when they need it, right? So they are not focused on the bigger idea of honesty and fairness and justice. They're all caught up with living day to day and surviving. And when you're interested in survival, you will end up doing some stuff that you normally wouldn't have done.
You know, that's
Just
just,
said
can I
Roger,
just,
wait,
can
wait,
I,
wait,
no,
you just said,
oh
Roger,
Jesus,
that we
right.
expect for a politician to be corrupt.
Yes, that's it. All right. Can I say this to you? Jamaican politicians get away with abusing women. As you can see, George Wright abused and nothing came out of it. As it is alleged.
Don't go up
It is alleged.
story because that is not proved in court.
No, I'm not going into the pedophile story.
Okay.
I'm not going there. It's alleged that politicians just take money. Take, for instance, Rural Reed, and he's just paid off. Just go aside and be silent. It is alleged that Bobby Montague has a lot of mishandling around him with the used car deal. And the airports authority are now climbing aluminum part worth 13 billion Jamaican dollars. 13 billion. And what happens? It sweeps under the carpet. There's no integrity commission. There is nothing to challenge if there's any truth to it. And what happens, Roger? A man just go aside, Ricardo. Oh, we love Bobby because he make me eat her food. Me love this because them help me eat her food. You understand where I'm coming from? And because of that, if you eat her food from the corruption, I use same one go out there and go defend him. Low Bobby alone. Low bro God alone. It's not a conversation about, boy, it wrong. Can we change it? You understand?
Okay.
That is wrong, Roger.
Let's quickly move on. The next issue is weak systems of checks and balances with the government in power.
Yeah, I think that is fundamental.
Where the Integrity Commission then?
Crisis that we're facing in Jamaica right now. There's
Roger, where the Integrity Commission then?
accountability whatsoever.
Zero.
Yeah. But the question we should ask is where will it come from? I don't think we can expect it to come from our politicians. We have to expect them to be corrupt. We have to be the one who say, okay.
The people who make laws, we're going to have to expect them to be corrupt. The people who
But that is
lead,
not.
we're going to have to expect them to be corrupt.
That is the expectation we have now. It has been normalized in our psychic that politicians are corrupt. So I think it's very stupid to expect them now all of a sudden not to be corrupt.
So
The
it's this idea that
accountability
we
has to
expect
come from the
politicians to be
voting
corrupt,
populace.
but we expect them to be smart being corrupt and not being caught.
Caught. And that is what is happening in this country, where many of them are corrupt. Many of them are get even caught. But because they know Jamaicans are sympathetic to them, them can't just come and say they make a mistake. Can you give me another chance? When you see people like Colonel Spencer come back in our politics, it tell us that Jamaicans don't really care if you're really corrupt.
Yeah.
When Colonel Spencer can't come back and say him going to run for a seat, Roger.
So
Except it's true though. Jamaicans really don't care now.
They don't care. They don't care about.
This is my issue with it.
We don't see how
This is my
corruption
issue with it.
impacts our-
We
our
rail
lives.
against what the person does, but I think that is missing the point. We have to focus on the people consistently voting or accepting these individuals. I think that's where the problem lies.
In a
Not
democracy,
with the-
true power resides with the people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we ought to be holding them accountable and holding their feet to the fire.
So Jamaica, a lot of the corruption issues that we are upset about. Look at the mirror. Look in the mirror this morning. Look in the mirror this morning. Look the diaspora.
Sanjay's what really convinced me of it.
Look in the mirror this morning. Right? It's important, and it says finally, the COVID-19 has given license to many political regimes to consolidate power and become even less accountable and transparent.
Yeah, because them have the COVID grant money them. Them have the COVID grant money them, Roger. And the COVID grant monies, then give them once per year. When the whole of them get monies to spend for the Jamaican people them all year around. I am saying to Jamaica, me tired of the corruption. Me tired of the nepotism. You know, remember Sister Marian said, Jesus, I'm tired! Tired! Yes, man, I'm tired. Me don't know about you, Ricardo. But me tired to see money I spend pan project overrun pan road and nobody's held accountable. Me tired to see people like Grace McLean just go pan sabbatical and still I get money and ask Ruel Reed. Me tired. Me tired of it. Me don't know about you, Roger. But I tired of it. Me tired. What, Sister Marian? Where the Sister Marian? Where you would have said Jesus are tired. Yeah, man, we're tired.
I don't think all of us would express it the way you have.
Yes, but
think
man, you
that's
got
common
express it.
sentiment.
Some of us are so tired that we can't muster the energy that he's exhibiting.
Because the energy in me, and me I go to gym right now. Up 2, 3, 4.
just not
Up 2,
okay.
3, 4.
It's just not okay. And Jamaica has to pause at a time like this.
Yes.
We're at a crossroads in our lives, in our world, where we've got to stop it now, not for ourselves anymore, but for the next generation. Because if it's this bad, and it can get worse, we've got to do something drastic in this country. to stem the
corruption.
kind of corruption that is happening, to save not us anymore, we're gone, but to save our future generation and to sustainably ensure that Jamaica,
Can you play this
the land
song?
we love, continues.
Heal the world and make it a better place.
It's important for us to be able to do that because every other creature on earth tries its best to leave a world and an environment for the next to follow.
Can I say to you?
It's
me tired.
unfortunate if Jamaicans, if they love Jamaica, is going to be okay with a world this morning with corruption as it is so systemic, with the kind of suffering that we're seeing now with hardworking people. If hardworking people are finding it hard to feed themselves and to pay their bills, hardworking people are going to find other lucrative means. What are those other lucrative means? They're not always
White collar
legal.
crime. White collar crime.
It's going to further feed the issue of crime and violence we have in our country. Politicians, the spotlight is on you this morning. Jamaicans, voters.
Can I just say one thing this morning as I end the program, Mr. Roger? You see the power of the vote? If you remember the power that was granted under the universal adult suffrage, that gives every Jamaican the right to vote. You see the partner draw is your vote. And it is not a what you're going to get. It's what you're going to get for a better Jamaica. A better Jamaica where I'm not tired each morning to hear about another corruption. I want to hear about how my child is doing in school. How that school is now a specialized school that is going to focus on what? Gymnastics. Focus on special education. Focus with persons with mental disabilities and physical disabilities. That's the kind of Jamaica we want. We're tired. Heal the world and make it a better place. Heal Jamaica, bro God. Andrew Michael Holness. I know you're tired because you say you cannot sleep. It's a true thing. If him cannot sleep, he must be tired. And if you can't sleep, you can't govern. Because mental health comes in many forms, Roger. And one of the forms it comes with is stability of the mind. And if the mind is not stable, how can you govern? How can you govern if you cannot sleep? That reminds me of King Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar was a mad king. I hope the Prime Minister is having no signs of insanity.
Listen, we segue next to... We segue next. Always sending words of encouragement to our leader, Mr. Prime Minister, even as much as we speak in the ways about corruption.
We don't mean him any harm.
We are also hoping, sir, that you can solve it.
Prime Minister, come on the program with us now.
Somehow in the midst, the solution is in your hands. Because as Jamaicans, we see you as leader and your ability to change it. We think you also have it. Walk with that in mind. Run with that in mind and hope with that in mind. We're up on a break here.